Restored Republic via GCR update as of February 20, 2018. Compiled by Judy Byington. Transcript and links on iqdcalls.com. A. Zap, International Hands, Zap Update, the Office of Poofness, all is at ready this week starting February 20th. The first funds would arrive in the next days. B. Sierra, QAnon, clean action has been approved, by Sierra, NZ, one of QAnon's last posts, clean action has been approved. Highest authority. Then Q stopped posting, and may have disappeared. Is this the 10 days of darkness before the final showdown? It takes us to the end of February, supporting Patrick's intel alert about the alliance working extremely hard to finalize it this month. C. TNT, Bank Story, KJ Machoro, Whidbey Island, Washington, Teller Training, Forex, TNT Thoughts, News. My cousin saw the Chase Bank parking lot full of cars today. He thought this was curious, since the banks are closed for President's Day. He drove into the parking lot and saw a note on the door, Teller Training today. He decided to check out the Wells Fargo a few blocks away. Same thing. Note on the door, Teller Training today. D. President's Day, Dr. Clark, Update. 1. What has happened over this past 5 days, is major. The Iraq budget being completed sometime this week and the Kurds agreeing to a deal. It's already been done, signed, sealed and delivered. The guarantee was completed. 2. The funds were guaranteed and secure. Substantial investment agreements would be upheld immediately, for several countries. 3. Over the past 5 days there was spiked bank activity in the U.S., such as the releasing of the 12 federal districts organizational map, with regard to how exchanges were handled. Specific education, at this late hour. More and more banks suddenly kissing and making up, over those nasty words, dinar and dong, even at the counter teller level. 4. The major top tier 1 banks in the US are scrambling as fast as they can, to organize this process, in a manner in which is quiet, yet effective, for a few million people, generating trillions of dollars in transactions, within primarily a 30-day period. 5. Trillions of dollars were moving behind the scenes, covering and funding the thousands of regional bank branches, not only in the US, but worldwide simultaneously. 6. The public major media already know about this whole thing and are patiently waiting, for the exact moment, when they have factual evidence, people en masse, exchanging at banks, in order to break the story publicly, instantly, after the process begins. 7. The US dollar has been falling substantially, over the past 12 months, on purpose, and by design. By design. Timed. Controlled. On purpose. 8. Add to this, the amount of currency the US holds from Iraq, estimated at least 4 trillion, and the amount of currency the US holds from Vietnam, estimated at least 18 trillion. This all spells a big incentive and big money, to hurry up and get a substantial rate value increase done, not only in Iraq, but with Vietnam, and a handful of others, to stabilize, balance and increase world trade mechanisms, which continue to be out of balance. 9. This was about the United Nations, IMF, World Bank, Brexit, and a mass civil war going on in the US for power, control and wealth. This is about bringing more balance worldwide. This is only a start. 10. We still love February. There are 9 days left in this month, even if it takes to the very last day of this month. We just learned this morning, that this is still very much the case. 11. It can start, any day now, this month. February has an enormously high probability of producing, at least an initial currency exchange, before the end of this month. 12. People have gone to jail and many more will go to jail. 13. This process has a few more days, from what we just learned this morning, and not too many more. E. Intel Alert, Operation Disclosure GCR/RV Intel Alert. 1. Alliance Ghost operatives uncovered blueprints for prototype weapons from the Cabal Mike DUMB located near Sawtooth Range before destroying it. 2. Attached to the blueprints were documents revealing plans for a particular prototype weapon being constructed at a hidden underground outpost located under Gannett Peak, Wyoming. 3. This particular prototype weapon is a long-range, low-frequency repeater which amplifies and reroutes standard HARP signals. This was a major concern for the Alliance due to the fact Gannett Peak is close to Yellowstone caldera. 4. The Alliance have located this outpost and deployed Ghost operative teams to neutralize and destroy it as of 12:39 p.m. EST February 19. 5. The DUMB at Sawtooth Range was the last recorded Cabal Mike DUMB that was built. Cabal Mike hidden underground outposts may still remain. Note, these hidden underground outposts are not classified as D.U.M.Bs. 6. All threats must be neutralized prior to bringing in the new financial system, RV/GCR, and beginning the transition event into Nova Earth. The Alliance are racing against time as the window of opportunity to begin the transition event this month is closing fast. F. Fulford Report, Financial Mega Battle to Escalate, Benjamin Fulford, White Dragon Society Financial Mega Battle to Escalate in late February, early March. Link to article on iqdcalls.com. 1. The secret battle for the planet Earth is entering a critical phase over the coming weeks, especially in the realm of finance, where an epic three-way battle is raging, multiple sources agree. In this battle, cryptocurrencies and the Chinese yuan are fighting each other, as well as fighting to replace the current privately owned Western central bank petrodollar, euro, and Japanese yen-based system. 2. The gauntlet has been cast by the Chinese as they challenge the US petrodollar, with the formal announcement of a March 26 start for gold-backed yuan oil futures trading. 3. Asian secret society sources say the year of the dog, which is just starting, usually brings volatility, in this case presumably in the financial markets, before things settle down into a new normal as the year progresses. This means the Chinese are ready for financial war once they return from their Lunar New Year's holiday this week and next. 4. This Chinese move against the petrodollar coincides with a Russian threat to withdraw from the Western-controlled SWIFT international payments system. A CIA source in Asia says he was informed by his Russian counterparts that if Russia starts trade without using the international SWIFT trading accounts and completely switches over to the Chinese cross-border interbank payment system, CIPS, there will be at least a dozen other nations that make this switch within days. 5. A Canadian Secret Intelligence Service agent notes that Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev of Russia is also the CEO of the Russian Federation, licensed to operate out of London. So if the order is given to move away from the SWIFT system, the US dollar simply dies and we will see huge inflation. What he means by this is that the London Financial District, and by implication the 2.4 billion member British Commonwealth, will join the Russians and Chinese in ditching the US dollar. 6. There is also a big push to replace the petrodollar with a gold-backed cryptocurrency that could rival the Chinese yuan for influence, according to Russian, CIA, Pentagon, Japanese government, and other sources involved in this project. 7. These developments are probably why senior members of the P2 Freemason Lodge, the controllers of the existing dollar/euro/yen system, contacted the White Dragon Society, WDs, last week to sue for peace. 8. Last week former CIA agent and founder of the Marine Intelligence Division, the folks who recently raided CIA headquarters, Robert David Steele showed up in Japan to meet with WD's members. The top generals in the Trump regime, including Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis, White House Chief of Staff John Kelly, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Joseph Dunford, were all Marine generals, so the timing of Steele's arrival in Japan can be no coincidence. G. Call for website reflections on the fall of the Big Rat, and the rising reclamation worldwide. Citizens arrests for child rapists on April 15, Kevin Annett, worldwide citizens arrests for child rapists on April 15. 5 years ago when the news broke that Pope Benedict, aka Joe the Rat Ratzinger, was no longer the Bishop of Rome, I, Kevin Annett, received an early morning phone call from the National Post newspaper in Toronto. A remarkably obtuse young reporter asked me if it was true that a pending arrest warrant against Benedict that I had helped engineer had prompted his departure. I replied, absolutely. I never heard from the reporter again, nor did the Post, or any other corporate media ever run a story on the threatened arrest of Rat Boy that had sent him scurrying from his sinking papal perch. On the eve of their conviction in a public tribunal for crimes against children, not only a serving Pope Joseph Ratzinger, but 3 other indicted Vatican officials resigned their offices: Tarcisio Bertone, Sean Brady, and the so-called Black Pope Jesuit leader, Adolfo Picon. The routine trafficking, torture, and murder of children has become a lucrative global industry in which major church corporations are deeply implicated. The Vatican, the Church of England and other churches stand convicted in common law courts of these and other genocidal acts. Your funding of and adherence to these criminal churches is allowing their wrongs to continue. These churches have betrayed their trust and lost their right to operate under the laws of God and humanity. We the people will no longer allow such wolves in sheep's clothing to exploit and brutalize our children. On April 15, 2018, people in many countries will take direct action to stop these crimes by striking at their source. Operation Atonement will perform citizens' arrests against known child rapists and the church officials who aid them, peacefully occupy church facilities and disrupt their operations and halt funding and legal protection that enable these criminal institutions. You can help save the lives of the innocent by joining this global effort. Here's how. 1. Boycott the Roman Catholic, Anglican/Episcopalian and United Churches by denying them attendance and funding. 2. Demand that your government revoke the tax-exempt status of these churches. 3. Educate yourself and others about this crime and the hidden history and nature of these criminal churches. See www.itccs.org. More information, transcript and links on IQD.